Jimbo to the human yaws on him, Holland Jimmo of Jetta, Bagger, Donald, Sunday, Hermado, Tomba, the Jala, Gui, Answer. Show me Jija, Jiborana, Disam Sani, Ganya, Rosen Jurga, Wanson, Tongue. Savilamana like answer to something original Chiji. Yarzone one here, Jalaso, Senjantola, Yarda, Dozono, Tamba, Namjin, the Zarda, so. Good morning. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about relationships. I think it's very important because many people have unhealthy relationships. And I have heard the unhealthy side of relationships from many, many people, especially when I have practice interviews. So this topic is huge. There are many different kinds of relationships, but I'm going to talk about general relationships based on Buddhist teachings and Buddhist point of view. So I will try my best. But first of all, I want to tell you this. I don't think you like my view on relationship and my advice. Because as you know, my suggestions and my advice to you about your relationship is practicing non-attachment. You don't like that. Practicing impermanent. And the not fish love. But I hope you will learn something from these teachings, and so that your relationship will get better. That is the point. That is my motivation for today. So, first of all, I'm going to start with this question: how are you dealing with heartbreak, and how to work with that? First of all, nothing feels worse than a broken heart. So I've been trying to figure out some good advice for how to leave your broken heart behind in order to have a good sort of new relationship with confidence. So I think usually these two things, broken heart and having love and relationship, are actually interdependent. And kind of a definition of your life. I would say with this kind of definition, you see that your life is telling a story, or a very important story. That story actually gives you the great wisdom. And Buddhism has a tremendous amount of helpful advice for working with your life story and all of these negative emotions. For example, attachment, desire, and jealousy, and so on and so. It's a little bit sort of different than the usual sort of advice to your relationships, but I think these are very, very useful, very helpful. So when you pay attention by cultivating awareness of yourself and others, you start to notice that every single day you are continuously circling in and out of moment of sort of falling in love and having your heart broken. I think it's kind of this is a, kind of definition, I would say, your life, So what do you do with this too? Falling in love and heartbroken. This kind of your, this is samsara, samsara path, So you should view your whole life as the path with a sense of clarity in your mind. With mental clarity and emotional stability comes the ability to see your entire life as the path. So I think Buddhist point of view, having a relationship can be very good because it can be a source of joy in your life, your friends, your family, can sort of provide you with sort of great companionship and assistance during difficult times, as well as share in your celebration and share your sort of life story. And relationships are also important to help manage your emotions in many different ways. For example, listening to others' description of emotional experience can teach you how to handle your own experience of emotions. And sharing your joy with others increase your pleasure, or sharing your sadness with others can reduce your suffering, your pain. And when you are angry or ashamed, talking openly with someone you trust can help relax that feeling. And learning how others have solved problems can give you hope that you can do the same thing, same way. it may be easier to overcome fear of certain situations or of new experience if you have a body with you. That's why I think relationships can be very good for you, very, very good for you. Of course, relationships can also be very, very bad. If your relationships are unhealthy, uncomfortable, and you usually try to make them comfortable, but this is actually what makes them uncomfortable if you don't know how to work with it properly. It is very clear that if you don't have a happy and harmonious relationship with your family, with your friends, or with your Sangha, etc., then helping each other and doing things together will be very, very difficult. So harmonious relationship is very, very important for both worldly and spiritually. So having a good relation or having a bad relationship depends on how you relate it to each other. So it is very important to keep your relationship with each other harmonious as much as you can. Now, the point is, I think, how do you sort of continue to be a good friend? From a Buddhist point of view, harmony in every relationship in the world, whether within families or within friends or within communities, depends on whether there is more or less ego. More ego is understanding each other with negativity, which makes it very, very hard to communicate. Ego is everything. Less ego is understanding each other's experience better. We know that. Generally speaking, there is nothing wrong with having relationships. But I think how wonderful it will be if you enjoy and have relationships with less ego and less attachment, which is to realize that the nature of relationship is changeable. That's the thing. Even though you want relationship like unchanging relation, impossible. Buddhist point of view, everything is changeable, especially relationship. The nature of relationship is changeable. And if there is a problem, just recognize that everything is naturally changing and just let it go. Otherwise, relationships are source of problems if you don't know how to make healthy relationships. You see, usually if something changes, then it causes suffering because of attachment. You know, Buddhists say that anger, attachment, and ignorance, these are from one kind of family, and none of them are good for you and for your relationships. So that means, you know, Buddhist point of view, you have to try to diminish them, which is you should not be attached. So that is the Buddhist actually advice. If you want a really healthy relationship, practice non-attachment is very important. That's why I told you maybe you don't like this, you know, the view on relationship, Buddhist point of view. Maybe you don't like that. So when I say this, you know, attachment, what does attachment mean in this case? Because you have to understand, because when we are talking about a relationship, basically we're talking about attachment and we're talking about love. So you have to understand what is different between relationships and attachment. What is different between attachment and true love? Many people really don't understand about this too. Many people think that attachment is very important for your relationship. But it is one of the Buddha's great kindness that he distinguished between these two so clearly. So therefore, it can save us from hard time, you know. It's very important to understand what is different between these two things. So we can learn to reduce the attachment, but we can increase the love in all our close friendships, which is guaranteed to bring us more meaning and joy. So when we talk about attachment, I think many people think that as soon as we talk about attachment, you know, many people think that having a family is attachment, having a friendship is attachment. So, Buddhist point of view, it means, you know, you should not have a family, you should not have any kind of friendship, you know, you should not have anything if you really want to practice non-attachment. People think that. That's why people misunderstand. No, that's not true at all. From the Buddhist point of view, this is completely, they said, misunderstanding about attachment. We have many good methods on how to live comfortably and how to make healthy sort of worldly lives and relationships. As you know, there are many good methods in Buddhism for practicing non-attachment with true love. So you should really not think that non-attachment is to give up these things. Like you can't have a relationship if you practice non-attachment. But real love and relationships are not about attachment. Because with attachment, we develop many expectations based on selfish motivation. You know, with a good relationship, we also have lots of expectations, but they are based on a genuine sort of, motivation. That's a different. So if you have a genuine motivation, then your attachment, teachers say that then if you have a good motivation, then your attachment turns into love. And your aversion turns into compassion. That's the thing. The difference between a relationship with true love and a relationship with attachment is, in a relationship with attachment, you care for others because they give you back something good and respect and help you. When you are attached to others, you don't see them for who they are, but you develop so many expectations of them. In reality, you don't care for them, but you care for yourself. So that's why this is, Buddhist point of view, this is like fish love, okay? I will tell you what is fish love. People say, I love fish, right? People say, I love fish. You hear this all the time. I love fish. Oh, you love fish. That's why you took the fish out of the water and you killed it and you boiled it and you eat it, right? So you see, you don't love the fish. You love yourself. You see, you love yourself. This kind of relationship, you don't care actually others. You care yourself. So you don't like fish. You like yourself. So relationship with attachment is like the fish love. I mean, Buddhist point of view. For example, a young couple falls in love. That means that he saw in this woman someone who felt could provide him with all of his emotional or physical needs. In the same way, she also felt in this man was somebody that could give her something good and respect. But each one is looking out for their own needs. It's not really loving relationship. It's fish love. So when most people say they're looking for love, what they mean is they're looking for someone to love them. Teachers say that a true loving relationship is a love of giving, not love of receiving. That's the true love. Love is, one of the four measurable practice. Love is one of the most profound emotions known to human beings. So love is very, very important. Spiritually, worldly, very, very important. Now, What to do when you are not getting what you need. There are many kinds of love, but most people want a sort of, what do you call it? Like this, a romantic, relationship. I think a good relationships don't happen in a short period of time. They take commitment, forgiveness, trust, and most of all, effort. If you have an attachment relationship and if you are really sort of emotionally depend on this person, you have a fear that the relationship will end. And actually, there are many different causes and problems that make your relationship unhealthy for, both men and women. But I think the reality is that men and women really care about the same issue, like money, how they spend their time away from work, etc. If these are not working, then you break the relationship. You see, there's not true love there. Generally, people think that the problem is the relationship. But from the Buddhist point of view, the solution is not to abandon your relationship, but to abandon your attachment. Which is not having a selfish motivation. Then you can enjoy the relationship, which is free from fear. Buddhist teachings say, as you let go of the attachment, your fear of losing the relationship of attachment will naturally change. You see, non-attachment is the essence and principal practice of Buddhist teachings. But first, you have to understand what is attachment. Let's say, imagine asking Buddha, what is attachment? What if Buddha tells you that, your family is attachment, your friendship is attachment, and everything is attachment? Then, of course, it's very scary, right? Very, how can I live without my family? It's impossible, right? So you don't want sort of to hear that kind of, non-attachment. You don't want to practice that kind of non-attachment. Nobody wants. So if you think the practice non-attachment is having to give up these things, give up everything, then I think Buddhism is very dangerous and very scary. This kind of non-attachment is not caring for your family, not sort of caring about anything. So giving up everything, that is not necessarily practicing love and non-attachment. So I want to clarify some misconception about practice and non-attachment. Many people think that if you really want to practice non-attachment and they want to become a great practitioner, then they think they must abandon all their sort of relationships and worldly life, that they should be like, you see, like Milarepa, living in a cave with minimal food and clothing. They think that this is the best way to practice, and this is sort of true and genuine renunciation, and this is non-attachment. You see, many people think that, right? You see, somebody's, living there, give up everything, giving up everything, their family, and just, you never know where he or she is. Give up everything. Then you think, oh, must be good practitioner, and because of this is the genuine renunciation, genuine sort of practice in non-attachment. People think that. People believe that. However, that is not correct, not necessarily correct. Because for some people, this might be the right path, like Milarepa. But it is not the better path for everybody. That's why Marba said, to Mila, your student, Mila, in the future, your student, don't tell them, practice like you did with me. So abandoning everything is not, what I'm trying to say is, abandoning everything is not true practice, non-attachment. Abandon everything is another extreme, First you were really sort of, caught up in your attachment, and then you completely separate from it. Both are extremes. For example, you have all of these relationships and all the things in your worldly life. And if you leave them, you are not leaving your attachment. You are leaving the object of your attachment. Your attachment is still there. If you really want to abandon attachment, you need to work with your mind. This is the Buddhist teaching, how to practice non-attachment. You have to work with your mind and the way you relate it to those objects. Keep with these objects can be the best way to practice non-attachment. You can watch how you relate it with these objects of attachment and slowly sort of, diminish the attachment in your mind without abandoning the object of your attachment. With this non-attachment, with this practice, you can have everything and you can enjoy. You don't have to give up. You don't have to abandon all of these objects and go somewhere. Um, when I first read about Milarepa's book, I felt like, I could never be like that. I could never do what he did. If that's the only way to practice non-attachment and renunciation, that's the only way. I could never be like that. So, then it harmed my confidence and gave me sort of doubts, about my capacity. Because, I knew I could never do that. Never do that. I felt like, I would never be able to eliminate my attachment, my afflictions, if I couldn't be like him. So I was kind of, doubt and practice Buddhism, and I was kind of sad. And then I asked my teacher about this. And if we have to do that, because my teacher loved Milarepa and his biography, and so that's why we read Milarepa. And then that's why, I have these feelings and doubt and questions, all of that. And he told me, no, that there is another way to attain enlightenment, of course, without needing to abandon our worldly life. But that was, wonderful to hear and know there was not, I can do something or another path. So that gave me like great confidence and enthusiasm. So, I thought that could be beneficial for you to hear as well. Because when we talk about non-attachment, you might feel the same as me, and you might lose your confidence. You might lose your practice and follow the, Buddha Dharma. It's dangerous. Now, practice non-attachment. Many people think that, okay, in order to practice renunciation, you have to practice non-attachment. What is non-attachment? Okay, you can't have anything. You have to give up everything. So most people think that. That's totally misunderstand. Practice non-attachment. It's true if you're attached to your, family, your friend, your whatever, causes problem. That's for sure. Because attachment, you develop so many expectations. And then if you are not successful with these expectations, then everything turns into problem. Especially like fish love, So that's why I say you have to understand what is the difference between attachment and love. I mean, I'm sure you know this because we talked many times. And because relationship is very, very important. With your family, your friends, your loved ones, your Sangha, your Dharma brothers and sisters, all these things, actually, everything is a relationship. So it's very, very important how to take care of healthy relationship. This is our life story. This is the definition. This is the characteristic of our life. Everything is relationship. But the thing is, we need to know how to keep healthy and happy relationship. And I will tell you how to do these things. I have lots of teachings for today. But now, I read lots of books and heard unhealthy side of relationships from people, and all of that, my experience, and I kind of worked very hard, and because this is I think this is the most important teaching, and beneficial, because everything is relationship, and people are very, very unhappy and suffering because of relationship. So I hope, I really hope that we can learn something from Buddhism, how to keep and relationship harmoniously, because it's very important. As a Sangha member like that, relationship is very important. Sometimes people, the Sangha, Dharma brothers and sisters always get together and, know each other very well. Then, sometimes very hard, say things very, knowingly or unknowingly, then hurt each other, all of that. So it's very important. But now, meditate for a few minutes. As I said, develop a non-attachment relationship with your mind. This is best done through the practice of meditation. The traditional practice of love and kindness teaches us exactly how to do this. So, first, very important to understand how to keep relationship harmonious. Not only that, just intellectual, way, but then you have to meditate. What is the opposite of, the attachment? It is love and kindness. Love and kindness. So please try it and see how it works for you. Now, for the meditation, this is, I usually teach how to do it. we're going to practice love and kindness. Love and kindness is wishing happiness for ourselves and for others. That is kind of definition. Now, think of this. Everything is changing moment by moment. Everything is changing. This is very important instruction. Everything is changing moment by moment. For example, when you breathe in and out, you should recognize that everything is changing. Very, very important this is. This is very, therefore, the life is precious. If you understand and if you practice, everything is changing moment by moment. You practice this. And if you remember, we don't remember this. If you remember this all the time, everything is changing. If you remember this, every day, all the time, then believe me, you will understand the precious of your life. But we don't remember this. We remember everything is same. Every day, same. Every day, my body, my mind, my possessions, everything is same. Looks like same, but that doesn't mean everything's same. So we don't really practice this way. So if you practice everything's moment changing sort of moment by moment, then your life is precious. Then you appreciate your life, appreciate everything. Because you can't keep permanently. You can't keep everything permanently. So you appreciate. So that means like we have to recognize that, for example, today is very precious day. So what? You only understand, today is precious day, nothing, right? But first, today is very precious day because everything is changing. So then you make a commitment in your mind. Make a commitment in your mind. Today is very precious day. My life is very precious. I appreciate. And then you should say, I will be kind. I will be kind today. And I am grateful for this moment. Right? This moment is like the great, the best gift and very, very precious. So that means I don't want to waste this precious time. I will love myself. I will love and kind others. I'm so grateful for all the good people in my life. I'm so grateful for many good and also, of course, bad times. They have taught to me grow stronger. Because if you understand everything, that everything is changing, then you develop your wisdom. If you understand all of this, you develop your wisdom. So these good and bad times give you and taught you grow stronger. So happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. So you have to choose to be happy. People are looking for happiness from outside. Buddhist point of view, totally different. From Buddhist point of view, happiness, you have to search and looking for happiness inside. Otherwise, they say you are like animal. You are like animal. So you think you have a food, you think a shelter, you have everything. You think you will be happy? That's kind of animal. They have a food, they have a water, they have a nice environment. That's only they can do. So if you think that's the only you can find your happiness, you are animal. But we have more than that. We have a wisdom. We know how to develop our inner qualities. The source of happiness is inside. You have to look that inside. That's why I'm saying practice non-attachment is not giving up your object, your property, your family. Practice non-attachment is you have to work with your mind. So everything is inside, not outside. So therefore, you make commitment every single day because you have to recognize today is precious and your life is very precious. And happiness is choice. So you have to choose your happiness. That means like you have to make commitment. I'm not going to let anybody or anything burn me down today. These are I think very important. You should say yourself, I totally believe that I can develop my love and kindness. My love and kindness. If maybe you don't have right now love and kindness, maybe you have expectations, maybe you have attachment, maybe you have jealousy, but you have to believe yourself and you have to, say, I can develop my love and kindness. That's your commitment. That's for today, Today is the life, your life. And now you focus on your breath. When you breathe in, your breath moves into your body. You experience your mind peacefully, and then recognize that you have this precious life and time. And then you appreciate the life you have in this moment. You never know, believe me, you never know what will happen in the future. Doesn't matter. This moment, right now, you are happy, you have everything, spiritually, worldly, everything you have. So you have to recognize that, and then you appreciate that, and you dedicate that for all beings. So this kind of practice helps you now that, helps you that, how important your life is and how precious your time is. Don't worry, don't rush, just breathe in. This is kind of analytical thinking, meditation. So when you breathe out, recognize unpleasant situations, both for yourself and others. You say, silently, you say, may I and others to be happy and, at peace. So when you experience sort of inner peace between, your breaths, you should focus on that and then relax on that. So this is combination practice, this combination analytical meditation and rest in meditation. So you breathe in all of that I just said, think about all of that, appreciate, and then you breathe out, and then you dedicate all important and all of this to others and yourself. And then you relax without thinking, just relax until your thoughts arise. Okay? So, if you do this practice, you may find, after this meditation, you feel sort of, very, like gentleness and kindness. That is love. So this is a practice of love, sort of with analytical and rest in meditation. Do you understand? Very good. For few minutes, please.